Welcome to Horse of the West and our first ever cutting horse competition, the Pccha Raising the Cash Derby and Classic Challenge from the South Point Arena in Las Vegas, with more cash up for grabs than ever.
It was just off the hook this year.
Okay, we gotta come a cutting.
It's a big-time cutting event, all wrapped up in a casino resort.
This place is unbelievable.
With cows or without, there's money to be won and fun to be had. We'll also hear from one of the most successful cutters in history how you can get involved in the sport and what she thinks makes cutting great.
The horses are the stars.
Coming up on Your Horse Inside and Out, sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim, we're going to talk about wobbler syndrome.
That's all in this episode of Horse of the West. Welcome to the Pacific Coast Cutting Horse Association Derby and Classic Challenge, named this year for the stallion Raising the Cash, who is doing just that. Stallion owner Tom Bailey of Iron Rose Ranch has anteed up the biggest sponsorship ever, $165,000 in incentive money. It's made a big difference in entries, along with the recent move to the South Point Arena in Vegas.
This show's been super. Our derby, since we moved it here, has been growing every year. The entries have increased every year. This one here caught us off guard. We added the unlimited amateur. Been a little longer days than we wanted, but it's been good. And you can't complain about growth.
The PCCHA has been around since 1950. The Derby was established 20 years later and is one of three major events the association throws each year.
We are the largest and the oldest premier affiliate on the West Coast. We just want to keep cutting alive out here.
Hall of Fame cutter and cowgirl Lindy Birch says it's working.
Throughout the years, Pacific Coast has been very innovative in lots of different things they've tried, like the adjusted monitor system, like the herd settling, pre-settling system that now everybody is enjoying because it shortens the day. But all those things were started out here at Pacific Coast first. The Pacific Coast Association and the trainers and members involved, not just the trainers, have really established Pacific Coast as an equal as far as competition-wise to the MCHA. If you can win out here on Pacific Coast, you can win in Texas and vice versa.
Everybody seems to agree the South Point in Vegas is a perfect base of operations for the PCCHA Derby.
I've been to a lot of facilities. I believe this is the best facility in the country. The staff is unbelievable.
It's very convenient. Everything is right here. As a mom, it's easy because you're back and forth to the rooms, the pools, the arcade, the bowling, the movies. But from a competitor, these guys don't have to worry about, trying to get places and trying to get people. Everything's right here. They said last night there's a little bit more camaraderie, they feel like, at this show because no one leaves.
This place is unbelievable. I mean, if you don't have a good time here, you don't want to have a good time.
That they do a wonderful job of putting the shows on. Most of the time we get done early, you get to go eat dinner. The facility is second to none that I've ever been to. They keep it extremely clean. The ground's good, everything's fresh. They work hard at keeping it that way, and the hospitality here is unreal.
This show is alive and well, and we're just happy with that. We want to keep the contestants happy, and hopefully everybody comes back.
Let's take a look at some of the action from the 4-year-old non-pro derby. Judy Rogers of Rockdale, Texas, rode to a 4th place finish on Raising the Cat's Meow, owned by Jonathan Rogers and sired by Raising the Cash out of Sally Cat's Meow. They take home $4,400. Finishing 3rd, Brandon Westfall of Granbury, Texas, and Cash on the Barrel, also by Raising the Cash out of Little Bit Reckless. Brandon takes home the $5,400 prize for 3rd, plus the $25,000 Raising the Cash non-pro incentive. Finishing 2nd, Todd Quirk of Denham Springs, Louisiana, on Plantation Farms Posh Spice by Woody B. Tough out of Catchery. They take home $6,500. In the 4-year-old non-pro derby, the champions are Kristen Gallion and Aspen by Metallic Cat out of the mare Little Rattler. This 4-year-old homebred made the open finals of the NCHA Futurity under Kristen's husband Wesley. She and Kristen also won the 2022 Breeders' Invitational. Here in Vegas, they take home $7,700. In the 4-year-old Open Derby, the 4th place finisher is Lloyd Cox on Pat Taylor's One Way or Another by NRR Cat King Cole out of Dooley's Little Queen. They take home $8,750. 3rd place goes to Adon Banuelos of Granbury, Texas, on Jim Good's Hottish Medal by Hottish out of Snow Me the Ray. 3rd place earns them a check for $10,000. Taryn Rice earns the reserve title in the Open Derby on Miss Callie Ray by Dual Ray out of Miss Callie Cat. $13,000 is their take-home pay. And the 4-year-old Raisin the Cash Open Derby champions are Spud Sheehan and Raisin Smooth Cash. An Iron Rose Ranch homebred Raisin Smooth Cash is by Raisin the Cash out of Smooth Peanut Butter. They take home the $15,000 top prize plus $55,000 in Raisin the Cash incentive money.
Really, really sweet mare. Really sweet mare. She gives you everything every time we show her. So she's so smart and she moves so cool and she just tries so hard, she's very strong. We were second horse, and I really wanted to win the Raising the Cash money. I think that's cool that Tom's got that up, so it was just go at it and knock it out and let everyone else try and beat it. That was it. The first cow was really good and the second cow was really good, and then we just had to, we knew we had a really good run going and we just had to finish up.
Now for the 5- and 6-year-olds in the PCCHA Raisin the Cash Non-Pro Classic. Here is our 4th place finisher, Vaughn Sutton of Weatherford, Texas, on New Metallic Silk by Metallic Cat out of New I Wood. Sutton and New Metallic Silk take home $4,000. Finishing 3rd, I'm a Platinum Kitty, ridden by Bobby Ray Hawkins of Seguin, Texas. I'm a Platinum Kitty is by Metallic Cat out of I'm Doolin Smart, and their prize is $5,000. Jeff Barnes of Wilton, California is our reserve champion on board Princess in the P by Metallic Cat out of Spooky's Got Cash. And they've got $6,000 more in cash with their 2nd place finish. And our champions in the PCCHA Raisin the Cash Classic are Brandon Westfall and Sugarless by Kit Kat Sugar out of Little Bit Reckless. Sugarless is owned by Brandon's mother, Janet Westfall. Now for the 5- and 6-year-old Open Classic. Finishing 4th, Taryn Rice of Poolville, Texas on Joel Colgrove's Timeless Little Cat by One Time Pepto out of CR Little Cat. They take home $6,000. Monty Bunton of Lincoln, California and Cat Play by Kit Kat Sugar out of NQH Shadow Play tie for 2nd and earn $8,750. The other rider in that tie is Taryn Rice aboard Catalina Cashin' In by Raisin the Cash out of Dual Catalina and owned by Joel Colgrove. As the highest placing son of Raisin the Cash, Catalina Cashin' In takes home $40,000 in incentive money. And our Open Classic champions are Taryn Rice and Jay-Z by Boone Too Soon out of Easy E. He was purchased recently by Frank and Bonnie Martin of Bitterroot Ranch, so he and Taryn are just getting to know each other, but Taryn likes what he sees so far.
Yeah, I love him. He's simple. He's easy to work, easy to show. He's extremely smart. He's big and strong and reaches a long way, and his ears are always perked, and he's just a really good horse. We cut 2 of the best cows cut all week. First cow and the 3rd cow were unbelievable, and the 2nd one was good enough. But yeah, the 1st and 3rd were like spectacular cows.
Eventually, Taryn says Jay-Z is headed for the non-pro pen.
The initial plan was for Frank to start showing him, and he had some knee surgery, so in the meanwhile I'll keep doing that, and as soon as he's healthy and ready to go, then they better watch out on the weekends. Frank's going to come get them.
Up next, they call it the WOW Series, and this year the Stallion Bad Booner Rising really put the wow in it with a big incentive boost.
It's just awesome that they added the money, helped us add money to that to make this our wow, the largest wow of the circuit.
We'll find out how that partnership is drawing the weekend cutters coming up.
I was like, okay, time to throw down on this.
Horse of the West coverage of the PCCHA Raisin the Cash Derby is generously sponsored by the PCCHA and Bad Booner Rising, 2015 Black Stallion by the $1 Million producer Showbiz Kitty. Welcome back to Horse of the West and the PCCHA Raisin the Cash Derby and Classic Challenge from the South Point Arena in Vegas. There is more than just Derby action here this week.
Currently today we're running the WOW Series, which is a NCHA weekend format cutting. And we'll take 6 to 8 in each one of them to the finals tomorrow night, the Bad Booner Rising WOW Series. What we're trying to do is have a circuit at these aged events for the weekend haulers.
Bad Booner Rising has jumped in, and we are able to offer a big weekend open and non-pro show, which is great, so people can come show in the weekend level and bring their older horses, which are always a lot of fun to show. And then come still show their premier aged events.
Let's meet our Bad Booner Rising WOW champions. In the non-pro, Mia Webster of Bend, Oregon, and Mama's Prima Donna take the title.
It was very stressful before starting the first go because I knew there were so many great competitors that were coming in with really nice horses. And I just had to remind myself it's all about just going in, having fun. And, if you make the final, you make the final. If you don't, then you laugh about it and try for the next one. So my run was nothing but very fun and a lot of whiplash. She's a very cool mare to show, and I'm very thankful to have her in our barn.
And the Bad Booner Rising WOW champions in the Open, Randy Chartier and Duramax Dooley by Dual Ray out of That Cat of Mine, owned by Milner Enterprise, LLC.
I think the love story started out the first day. I think he was really comfortable with me, and I was comfortable with him. And probably being my age, I was probably going to be comfortable with anything. The type of horse he is, this comes down to horsepower. In a situation like it tonight, it comes down to the cows you can get cut for that horsepower and how you can put 2.5 minutes together.
Coverage of the 2022 PCCHA Derby is generously sponsored by the PCCHA and Bad Booner Rising 2015 Black Stallion by Showbiz Kitty.
We are Todd and Elizabeth Quirk.
We're from Denham Springs, Louisiana, and we are the proud owners of Bad Booner Rising, part of Plantation Farms, owned by Buster Quirk, Todd's dad, and we are honored to be a family-owned and operated organization, and we stand behind our stud.
Bad Booner Rising was in the 2-year-old sale of the Western Bloodstock at the NCHA Futurity, and Don and I had been talking about whether or not we wanted to purchase a 2-year-old, and Don mentioned him, and we were bidding on the horse, and Dad said, don't leave without that horse. He said, keep bidding. So it was a neat deal. Dad really wanted him, and so it all worked out, and the rest is history now.
If it wouldn't have been for Buster pushing us over the edge that day, then we wouldn't have been able to have him. And from then on, it was just, the funnest thing ever.
So Bad Booner Rising hit the stage with an incredible presence in the 2018 NCHA Futurity. He and Don clinched the Reserve Open Championship, and it was such an incredible night just to see that horse come full circle, to be on that stage, to mark those incredible scores and make it to the finals and then light it up from there.
That was a big moment. And I remember about halfway through that run, I was just sitting there and enjoying it. Like I didn't have to do nothing. And it was awesome.
Seeing that horse go from every single different arena, coliseum, any show you can name, and he would gauge a cow and read it however it needed to be dealt with in that particular arena at that time.
He felt like whatever new arena you took him to, he owned it. I show a lot of horses, and so you have to adapt to a lot of different egos and a lot of different personalities, and it felt like he was always doing that for me. So if cow would get a little tight, he'd get smarter, and if a cow would get out there where he could do some more, then he'd do some more, and it's a real good feeling whenever the horse has your best interest in mind.
From a Don's team all the way to Brazos Valley Stallion Station now, where he is, everybody has done a phenomenal job with his care overall.
We have an incredible stallion, but the mare owners have come alongside of us, supported us year after year, and especially with the first, second, now we have the third full crop in utero. I think as a whole, the marketability and presence that he puts with these babies are just really second to none.
I think that the industry has needed a horse of that size with that much bone on him that still brings a low move and a lot of sensitivity.
Both sides, top and bottom of his pedigree, he really stands out.
The Quirks flew me out to their place, and I've never seen a group of yearlings look that good. And then the fact that they were all Bad Booner Risings it gives you a real good feeling about the future. I got excited all the way back then just because of how humble he always was and easy to train. as far as studs go in our industry, he does offer a very wide variety of places that they can go. The way that he's built and the size and the mass that the bones have, I think they're going to make phenomenal rank cow horses.
The oldest ones are yearlings, and we're really excited about the conformation, the color, the demeanor. He's really stamping them with all of the qualities that you would want in the babies, and we're excited about the future with them and what's next, and can't wait to start riding some of them.
Want to learn more about how to get involved in cutting? Lindy Birch, member of the NCHA, PCCHA, and National Cowgirl Halls of Fame, will give you her 2 cents just ahead. And no cows in this PCCHA event, but lots of fun and plenty of competition. We'll have that when we come back. Don't ride off. Welcome back to Horse of the West. In addition to all the great cutting action, there's plenty of fun away from the herd as well.
We did a flag cutting, Rockin' K Productions, and my mom put up $6,000 to pay $2,000 to the Open, $2,000 to the Non-Pro, and $2,000 to the Amateur. And it was a flag, and they were programmed, so all 5 Open riders had the same run, all 5 Non-Pro riders had the same run, and all 5 amateur riders had the same run. And we had 5 4A judges up there, and it was judged just like a regular cutting. And, you know, it was just fun. And then we do our cornhole tournament that, you know, Mr. Perks has jumped in with Ghostwood Distillery and sponsors it. And we give a lot of swag away and, like, fun gifts and money, of course. And that went until, I think, 9:30 last night. I mean, they were up here playing cornhole, like, all night because they do a bracket system and make it a really fun tournament. I mean, you look out here and, you know, everybody's sitting on the fence, everybody's sitting on the panel, you know, and they're just enjoying themselves. I mean, it's always, you know, work, watch cows, work, watch cows, go to the practice pen. So it's nice to just, you know, have a minute.
Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim.
A myelogram is a special x-ray that we use to examine the horse's neck if we're worried about it being not formed properly or having trauma or an injury. And you might have soft tissue that's impinging on the spinal cord, creating hind end weakness. So we're going to go look at some radiographs or a myelogram of the horse's neck region, which is this area right through here. So a myelogram is basically a procedure where we're going to inject a dye into the spinal canal of the horse. We're going to use a long spinal needle, and it's going to go into the gap between the horse's head and the first vertebrae in their neck. And we inject this dye into the canal, and that will allow us to look at the soft tissue in the spinal canal, where the discs are and where the spinal vertebrae, the bones themselves, if they're narrowed. You'll see this narrowing of the dye column, which will show a contrast between the nervous tissue, the soft tissue, and the bone, allowing us to see if there's an impingement on the nerves that are in the spinal column. Okay, this impingement on the nerves is what causes the incoordination, the weakness, the ataxia that the horse will have typically in their hind end. This happens more frequently in the hind end because the nerves that go to the hind end are on the outer part of the spinal cord, so they're getting the impingement early on in the process. As the condition advances and the discs or the damage increases and there's deterioration, you can see neurologic signs in the front end of the horse. Sometimes these horses are recumbent, can't get up in their worst cases. So a myelogram is a procedure that we use in horses to try and diagnose a wobbler syndrome. And I'm Dr. Joe Carter with Your Horse Inside and Out.
Your Horse Inside and Out is sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim. Before making any decisions about your horse's health, be sure to contact your veterinarian.
Horse of the West coverage of the PCCHA Raising the Cash Derby, generously sponsored by the PCCHA and Bad Booner Rising, earner of more than $367,000. Be right back. Welcome back to Horse of the West, coming to you from the Pacific Coast Cutting Horse Association Raising the Cash Derby. Since this is our first time to include cutting in Horse of the West, we asked Hall of Fame cowgirl and cutter Lindy Birch to talk about her favorite horse sport and how you can get involved in cutting.
You know, it's a very, very popular, discipline, and it's the only discipline that we get to show our horses, and the horses are the stars. They're the ones that are working the cow, with our hand down on their neck. No other discipline can claim that they don't rein or cue their horse. We don't. The cow cues our horses. The best thing to do is ask somebody at a cutting how to get involved. Find your local affiliate, which in this case would be Pacific Coast. Join it, join NCHA, everything's online. There's all kinds of training videos. There's a trainer's directory, so you can find a local trainer that's close to you. Go to them, take a lesson, figure out if that's the kind of program you want to be in, and you can just go from there. And get an older horse that you can learn on, and it can teach you some things, and then you can move from there to the weekend shows and or the aged events. So there's a whole menu of classes on the weekends to get started in. There's youth, there's amateur, there's whatever entry level that you might come in at, there's a place for you to cut. What I enjoy most is just that partnership between the horse and the rider that all good teams have, and the horse feeding the cow. There's nothing you can feel that's any better than that.
You can find out more about the Pacific Coast Cutting Horse Association at pccha.com or go to nchacutting.com to find an affiliate near you. Coming up in the weeks ahead on Horse of the West, the Better Barrel Races World Finals and the National Reining Horse Association 4-6s Derby, both from Oklahoma City, plus the Cinch Ranch Sorting National Championships World Finals from Fort Worth. In the meantime, find more content on Facebook, Instagram, and our Horse of the West YouTube page. I'm Jennifer Reynolds. We'll see you next time on Horse of the West.